Okay, we have all been there. You know that moment when the water in the sink just stops going down? Ugh, it's got to be one of the most common and most frustrating household problems there is. So today, we're going to dive deep into the world of clogged drains and figure out the best way to handle it. Should you do it yourself, or is it really time to call in a pro? Let's get into it.
So let's set the scene. You're in the shower and the water is starting to pool around your ankles. Or maybe the kitchen sink is taking forever to empty after you do the dishes. What's your first move? Your gut reaction? Are you reaching for that bottle of chemical gunk under the sink? Or maybe grabbing the plunger? It's a question pretty much every homeowner has to answer at some point.
And look, I totally get why we lean towards that do-it-yourself fix. It feels fast, it seems a whole lot cheaper, and all the stuff you need is right there at the hardware store. That promise of a quick 5-minute solution is just so tempting when all you want is for the problem to just go away.
But here's the thing, and this is really the heart of the issue. That quick fix is almost always just a temporary band-aid on a bigger problem. Sure, you might snake it a little and get some water flowing, but you're rarely dealing with the root cause. A lot of the time, you're just poking a tiny hole through the middle of the clog, leaving all that gunk and buildup still stuck to the sides of your pipes.
And this is exactly where things can start to go sideways. What began as you trying to save a little time and money can actually lead to some hidden dangers, and honestly, much bigger, more expensive problems down the road. So let's take a look at what can really happen when a DIY job goes wrong. Let's start with those chemical drain cleaners that everybody seems to have. First off, that stuff can be seriously hazardous. We're talking about risks to your skin, your eyes, even your lungs. But beyond that, those super harsh chemicals can literally eat away at your pipes over time, causing corrosion and eventually leaks. And on top of all that, they often don't even work on the tough stuff, like hard mineral deposits or really compacted clogs.
This chart really lays out the difference perfectly. The DIY approach, it's all about guesswork, basic tools, and you're left with a temporary patch and a real risk of damaging your pipes. Now compare that to the professional approach. They start with diagnostics, use specialized gear for a deep clean, and they bring expertise and safety protocols to the job. You know, it's the difference between slapping a bandage on a wound versus a doctor actually stitching it up correctly. So what does that professional approach actually look like? Well, for starters, their toolkit goes way beyond a simple plunger or one of those little hand crank snakes. We're talking about some pretty impressive technology that's designed to solve the problem for good on the very first try.
First up, video inspection cameras. This is huge. It lets a plumber see exactly what's happening inside your pipes. No more guessing. Is it grease buildup, tree roots creeping in, or a totally collapsed pipe? They'll know for sure. Then they bring in the big guns, high-powered augers and hydrojetters, which are designed to completely clear out obstructions without wrecking the pipes.
Okay, we have to talk about hydrojetting for a second, because it is a total game changer. Just imagine a power washer, but one that's designed to work safely inside your plumbing. It shoots an incredibly high-pressure stream of water that just scours the pipe walls totally clean. It doesn't just poke a hole in the clog, it literally obliterates years of grease, gets rid of mineral scale, and can even slice right through tree roots that have worked their way in. It basically restores your pipe to like new condition.
You know, the whole process is super systematic. A real pro doesn't just show up and start ripping things apart. They'll inspect the whole system, use that camera to get a precise diagnosis, and then, before they do anything, they'll give you a clear written estimate of the cost. Only then will they use the right tool for that specific job. And maybe the best part, they finish up by giving you solid advice on how to stop it from happening all over again.
And when you look at it that way, it really changes how you think about it, right? It's not just about paying for a quick fix. It's about making a long-term investment in the health of your home's entire plumbing system. It's about solving the problem for good, not just for today.
So, how do you know when it's absolutely time to make that call? Keep an eye out for these big warning signs. If the same drain keeps clogging up over and over again, if you've got multiple drains backing up at the same time, or if you hear weird gurgling noises from the pipes or smell sewage, those are serious red flags. They all point to a much deeper problem, probably in your main line, that needs professional help and fast.
See, a pro isn't just looking at that one clog in your sink. They're looking at the whole system. They're the ones who can spot things like tree roots invading your sewer line or identify problems with your home's venting system. These are critical issues that a DIY approach would almost certainly miss, but they could be the real reason you're having problems in the first place.
And remember, when you hire a licensed professional, you're buying so much more than just a cleared drain. You're buying peace of mind.
You're protecting your home from potential water damage, you're making sure the work is done correctly and up to code, and you're almost always getting a warranty that backs up the work they did.
Which really brings us back to the big question. When you think about the potential for damaging your pipes, the fact that most DIY fixes are just temporary, and all the diagnostic power a pro brings to the table, is that quick, cheap fix really worth the long-term risk and the potential for a much bigger bill later? Definitely something to think about next time you see that water start to back up.